I was home. I was stationed at Recruit Training Command at Great Lakes. I was a battle station facilitator, so I had just gotten off. It definitely, you know, kind of changed our focus on our mission. We were getting recruits in and training them, getting ready for the fleet. But once that happened, it became imperative to us as RDCs that our job became that much more important.
I had just came in from recess, and I was about the 5th grade, and they rolled a large television in, and they turned it on and told us all to watch it.
I was in boot camp. I was actually laying under my rack in boot camp on the floor, and the RDC comes in and says, anyone here from New York, report to the office right away. He brought us in, showed me the screen, the monitor, the TV. Actually, it was the news, and I thought it was a movie. So I started chuckling, and I was like, what is this? And he said, call your parents. This is the news. The Twin Towers have been hit. And all I can think about was my aunt, because she works there. So I called home, and it was just a busy signal for days. We didn't get a hold of my aunt for probably a week or two after. She ended up walking home from right in front of the building where the plane hit.
I was stationed on board the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. They were in the dry docks over in Newport News. When I heard the news, I was waiting for a medical appointment. They immediately told everybody to go home, and from there, everybody evacuated base, the yards, and headed to their place of residence and got accountability for their family.
On 9/11, I was a senior in high school, and it was early in the morning. I was driving on my way to school. I turn on the radio, and the first thing I hear is that we've been attacked. America has been attacked. It was kind of a shocking moment, and then I get to school, and I see a few students in tears. I really didn't grab the concept until I went to class and the TV's on, and that we've been hit.
I found out about 9/11. I was in my first A school, sitting in medical. We saw it on the TV. We actually thought it was a movie until one of the nurses ran out and told us that it was real. Everybody went in a full panic. They shut down the base, and everyone tried to call home. For me in particular, I tried to call my dad because part of his evacuation route was through the tunnel going between New Jersey and New York, but we weren't able to establish comms with him until 2 days after.
I was in college at SUNY Oneonta. I got woken up by the girls across the hall to the first plane flying into the tower, and I was awake enough and I saw the second one fly in. And they shut campus down for the whole, pretty much the week, because there's a lot of students that were from New York City, Long Island, all that down there.
I was in history class, World History 1, as I was a sophomore in high school, and I remember they wheeled in a portable TV so that way we could watch the events unfold as it happened, because our history teacher was completely flabbergasted, and we didn't really understand exactly what was happening at that point in time.
I was in the car on my way to work, and came across the radio of what happened. The DJ had stopped everything, cut in from the middle of a song, and explained what was going on. I pulled over to the side of the road because I just wanted to pay attention to what was going on, and then shortly after I heard the news of the second plane hitting. So I called into work, turned around, went home, turned on the news, and tried to figure out what was going on and see if there's anything I can do to help.
I was still Togo. I was actually a student. I was on campus when a few students were talking about what happened. I didn't actually see the images until I get home when I was watching the news. And it was the most terrible thing I've ever seen in my life. The only thing I could really think about was how much pain the victims were going through.
I was stationed in Naval Station Jacksonville, Florida in VP 30. I was working for our training master chief, waiting to get classed up in the AWC school. Told us to come to the instructor lounge, and something had happened. The towers in New York had been hit. Didn't believe it at first. As soon as we seen one of the towers hit, my mind instantly went to my uncle who is working at the Pentagon, and shortly thereafter, they had said that the Pentagon was hit as well. So I was wondering where my uncle was at, and all the phone lines were tied down and couldn't get through. And we were on lockdown in Jacksonville. It was really tough.
I was a freshman in high school, and I was sitting in second period study hall when a few teachers came running into the cafeteria. A few of them were crying, and they turned on the TVs, and we saw planes flying to the tower.
I was walking into my 7th grade math class. I remember seeing my teacher, Miss Campbell, crying. A couple students had asked her what happened, and she said that there was a terrorist attack at the World Trade Center. We spent the next 3 hours watching the news, kind of learning about what had taken place.
So back then I was still in Poland, and I had no idea that I was gonna immigrate to the United States. But I still remember that day because of the time difference. It was in the afternoon, and I was at home, and I heard from the radio station, and it was just the first plane hit one of the towers, and after that there was another announcement. A couple minutes later there was another hit. So that's when I turned the news on, the TV on, and everyone was quite in shock. And it was still shocking even though there was 1,000 miles away from the actual place. And I still remember that night many people, they had candles and lights lit up in the windows.
That morning was unbelievable.
We were working at the township hall.
I was in the Philippines.
I was at my first job ever out of high school.
6th grade, first period.
The instructor came into the classroom and said, there's been a tragedy.
And at first, I thought it was a joke.
Kind of a hoax.
Honestly, I couldn't believe it.
Teacher had the TV on, and she was crying.
And that's when we saw the second plane struck.
When it happened, my first reaction is, what? That could never happen.
I just didn't understand it because I was just young at that time.
It was something that I will never, ever, ever forget.
We on the ship like to think that the 3,000 people that died that day kind of watch after us.
It's actually a very beautiful ship. If you look at the lines and the angles that she has cosmetically, she's a very sleek looking machine.
And so by having all of the angles that we have on board and having everything tucked away and hidden makes us look very small on radar. The primary mission of the New York, which is an LPD, it's a landing platform dock, is to carry Marines. We can carry about 700 Marines on board and all of their equipment to just about any place in the world.
We're multi-mission capable, and that makes us an effective fighting platform.
Count on set, 236 knots.
30 seconds, stand by.
LCAC stands for Landing Craft Air Cushion. We can load an M1A1 tank on there, 2 AAVs, MTVRs, 5 tons, Humvees with trailers, water buffaloes, you name it, we can carry it.
And what that allows us to do is, with our lower radar cross-section, be just off the coast where it's far enough that they can't really reach us or see us. And with their speed of advance, can put a lot of Marines on the beach quickly. So in essence, we can build up our combat power ashore before they know we're really even there.
This ship represents so much more than just being a ship in the water. We have a flight deck with 2 main spots and 6 expanded spots.
The ones that the ship was really designed for is the MV-22 Osprey. And the way my flight deck is set up, I can actually have 4 on deck at a time.
It's stressful, it's a ballet. When everything comes together and all my guys are working well together, it's fantastic.
It is a pretty strong deterrence when we come into your waterway. We bring a lot of capabilities with us so that we can remain an instrument of freedom and peace. Where most of the world thinks about September 11th just once a year, we carry that responsibility forward. I grew up in the Bronx in the James Monroe houses where we lived right down the street from a fire station. I said to the detailer, I really want to serve on that ship. Really means a lot to me, in some small part because of what she means and the responsibility that we have in honor of what the ship stands for.
If this ship represents something, it's emotion, because people put emotion on the USS New York. What we have on our bow, I don't think is a secret to anybody. We have 7.5 tons of World Trade Center steel.
That's extremely special to us because it's like taking a piece of such a tragedy that happened, and we get to take it back overseas.
What's special about the ship is what it stands for, and the crew knows that. The crew is truly amazing.
To ITSN Jessica N. Martinez, United States Navy. We must strive with renewed dedication towards valued ideals.
Anybody that says that today's youth doesn't have the same dedication or patriotism that we had back in the golden era, yeah, I would challenge that.
Displaying outstanding initiative and technical abilities.
We are serving on board so that we can not only honor those victims that died that day, but I think when we bring the fight to the enemy, we don't have to go through another 9/11. Let's have a big round of applause for him.
We will always rise from the ashes, and we will always go back and be that deterrence, be forward deployed, show them that we are capable of surmounting any obstacles they try to put in our way.